first off, I know what you're thinking. You already had to watch an unnecessarily long intro, and now I'm talking, and you just want to get to the mock draft. That's what you clicked on this video for. But, I just want to thank you for clicking the video in the first place. Please don't forget to leave a like, and, stay tuned for the whole thing. I know it's a long video. It's definitely going to be a long video. It's 2 rounds, 10 trades. But it's all worth it. There's, method to my madness. Just trust me. Any hate, you can leave down in the comments, but watch the end, please, because, although a team need may not be addressed in the first round, it may be addressed in the second round, or I may have an explanation for it. So don't be so quick to be like, oh, the Cardinals are going to trade Kyler Murray, blah, 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 because, I have explanations, I promise. There's a lot went into this video. It took me a long time to get this out. I did background checks. That sounds really, really sketchy. I did my research on these players, especially on these teams' general manager drafting patterns as well. And, for my trades, I went really in depth and looked at past trades and, what teams got compensated for moving up into certain positions. So there is a lot of research backed up into this draft. So just kind of keep an open mind while you're watching this, and try to see from all angles where I'm coming from with these picks, because I make my mock drafts as if I'm the general manager of that team, not what I predict they're going to do, because it is almost impossible to predict a mock draft. Mel Kiper, I don't even think he had 2 right last year. Was it 2 right? I mean, with all these trades and stuff, mock drafts are just for anticipation and for fun. And, that's how you should look at these mock drafts. Oh, what if my team did this? Then they're going to have to do this. It's different scenarios that could happen. It's supposed to be fun. That's what makes the draft so much fun. That's why people like you and me are following it. So, like I said, keep an open mind while you're watching this. And, any comments, save till the end. You watch this whole video first and then take it down below, and I will gladly get back to you, because I love responding to you guys. I love seeing everybody else's views and their mentality on these teams and what they're going to do. So, make sure to watch till the end and, give me a little feedback. So I'm not going to keep you anymore. It's already been almost 3 minutes of me talking. So enjoy the video. Here we go. Let's start off at pick 1. I have the Arizona Cardinals making a splash and trading down. My quick reasoning behind this is because I think Rosen stays in Arizona. I mean, every rookie quarterback has their struggles. I mean, Carson Wentz did. Dak Prescott kind of did. Off the top of my head, you got Jared Goff, who definitely did. Lamar Jackson kind of thrown to the wolves late. He looked all right, but in the playoffs, he pretty much choked against the Patriots. But my point being, you need to watch these guys their second, third year and see if they take that next step. You shouldn't trade them after a year. That's my stance on it. I have the Miami Dolphins giving up a multitude of picks, a large package of picks to get this, and they obviously are going to select Kyler Murray. Why else would they trade to this number 1 spot? I personally am not a huge Kyler Murray fan, but I mean, there's no doubt that he's getting hyped up. He's that dual threat. He's that modern day mobile quarterback that a lot of teams are looking for. And with no Tannehill anymore, you can have Ryan Fitzpatrick kind of be that backup there, throw Kyler Murray right to the starting position right away, and just hope for the best. I mean, a lot of teams do think he is that game changer of a player. So here we go. We have Kyler Murray to the Dolphins at 1. All right, next up at pick 2, we have San Francisco. The 49ers, they're staying here. They're going to take Nick Bosa. I mean, kind of a no-brainer here. He's a game changer. You've seen what his brother Joey has, put on the table over there in LA for the Chargers. He's a monster. I don't think he is technically the best player in the draft. You will know my opinion on who the best player in the draft is in just a few more picks. However, Nick Bosa is very solid all around. I don't think he will be a bust. He's going to be far from it. He's going to be able to step in, make an immediate impact, kind of solidify that pass rush over in San Francisco. Just kind of an easy easy selection for John Lynch over in San Francisco. Next up, guys, we got ourselves another trade. All right, so we have the Jets trading down. Yeah, the Jets, I mean, they could get somebody like Josh Allen, who's still on the board here, Quinn Williams. However, I mean, I think they want to stockpile up on picks, just like the Cardinals. They both have young quarterbacks going in their second year. They want to stockpile these picks because once they pay these quarterbacks, they're not going to have much money to spend elsewhere, so they're going to want to, kind of build through the draft. Denver is the team that they're trading with. They're moving up 7 spots, giving up a smaller package of picks than Miami gave to the Cardinals. And they're going to select their quarterback of the future in Dwayne Haskins. Now, Haskins didn't really show out at the combine, but you just watch his film from last year. The guy is a gunslinger, man. He is a leader. He, with the right training, can be a franchise quarterback. And that's why, Elway, I'm not a huge fan of Elway, but I think he makes the right decision here. Trades up, sits Haskins the full season behind Flacco. And then, by 2020 season, kind of throw him out there with a year under his belt, do the Mahomes tactic, and hopefully you're in a similar position as the Chiefs. So Broncos go Haskins at 3. And no, I'm sorry, there's not another trade. I know there's 2 in the top 3, unfathomable, right? But right here, John Gruden's mouth is absolutely watering because Josh Allen's still on the board, an absolute game changer, a almost guaranteed superstar just like Nick Bosa. And no, he is not my best player in the draft either, in my opinion. You'll see that if you keep watching. But Allen, I mean, you get Allen, you put him on your defense, you just kind of like plug and play. He's going to have an immediate impact. I expect him to perform a lot similar to Darius Leonard did for the Colts last year. So, no-brainer here. Josh Allen at 4. Now at 5, I could have seen Tampa Bay go in any direction, really, to be completely honest with you. They could have went offensive line. They could have went secondary. Greedy Williams still on the board. You got Juwan Taylor, Jonah Williams, even Cody Ford. But I don't think they can pass up here. Devin White, linebacker at LSU. He put up like a 4.4 for his 40. He had some pretty nice numbers all around at his combine, actually. And, an athletic freak. They just lost Quan Alexander in free agency. They need somebody that can fill that middle spot, and Devin White can step in day one and fulfill that requirement. So, Tampa Bay takes Devin White at number 5. Oh, the biggest question of this offseason. Well, not really, but for Giants fans it is. Eli Manning, what do you do with him? I'm not an Eli Manning hater. I have the utmost respect for the guy. I think he gets, shorthanded. He's very underrated. He's never really had the greatest offensive line, and when he's had, good weapons, he's never had time to throw to them. That's my defense for him. Enough of that. They will not take a quarterback, though. They will stick it out with Eli for one more year. Next year, you have so many options. You could draft one of those big 3 quarterbacks that are coming in the draft. I mean, you could also take a quarterback late this year. Who knows? The Giants select Montez Sweat, my favorite player in this draft. The guy, I watched his film. It is almost identical to Nick Bosa and Josh Allen. I mean, he is right up there. I don't know why I ever slept on him before, and the combine just solidified that. I mean, the guy runs 4.4 40. He's 6'6", and he's a defensive lineman. I'm pretty sure he set a record for fastest D lineman in the combine. That's just unfathomable. That's the second time I've used that word today. Wow, I feel like a geek. But Sweat, he brings just speed on the edge, but he also brings power. Don't quote me on this, but I think he had 27 reps on the bench. He had a pretty high bench too, in addition to being fast, and his vertical wasn't horrible either. So this guy, can come in, he can destroy and possibly be Michael Strahan 2.0. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that comment. At pick 7, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right. So, Jacksonville, obviously, they got Nick Foles. They solved their quarterback debacle there. Foles is going to be a stud. He's going to let it hang in front of everybody. He's going to be a stud. But who's he throwing to? Oh, that's right. DK Metcalf, their 7th pick. DK kind of speaks for himself. What do you run, like a 4.3 something at the combine? He's put up, I know he put up 27 reps on the bench. He also had a pretty high vertical as well. So you got DK Metcalf, just absolute overall stud. Gonna go and ball it up in Jacksonville. And at pick 8, we have the Detroit Lions. I just want to take a second and hope Matthew Stafford's wife Kelly has a nice, quick, speedy recovery. She's getting surgery to remove a brain tumor, so that's got to be really tough. Hope all goes well there. But at pick 8, we have Detroit going Brian Burns, edge out of Florida State. The guy, he's a budget Montez Sweat. He's a little smaller build, but he's just as fast, and you can play him at linebacker, play him at the edge, wherever, DN. But this guy, adds a pass rush that was nearly non-existent for Detroit last year, and just gives Matt Patricia another weapon to move around on that defense. We got Bills Mafia here at pick 9, and they go Quinn Williams, who falls to 9. I know, this mock draft, it sucks. It's the worst you've ever seen. Quinn Williams, one of the best regarded players in the draft, falling to 9? What happens, all right? Quarterbacks, valued a lot higher than any other position. So, they go 1 and 3. And edge rushers, edge rushers have always been valued a lot higher than interior defensive linemen because they're just so much more versatile and they have such large of an impact on the game. Unless you're getting like an Aaron Donald. But Quinn Williams, he speaks for himself. Great run stuffer. Can step in, replace Kyle Williams. Now here at pick 10, this is one of the many picks the Jets acquired via trade with the Denver Broncos. And with this pick, they choose to select Florida offensive tackle Jawan Taylor, arguably the best offensive tackle prospect in this draft. Great run blocking, even better pass blocking, and he can step in right away and be that starting left tackle for Sam Darnold and open up some holes for Le'Veon Bell. And here we go. At 11, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. They have a lot of needs, but this guy in particular, I just felt was a great scheme fit, and they can't really pass up. Cody Ford, the offensive guard from Oklahoma, powerhouse. He is great on the interior, and he can also play, offensive tackle if need be. But I think they're going to slide him in probably at that right guard spot. They haven't really had much interior help ever since they traded away or got rid of Zeitler. I don't think they traded him. I think they lost him in free agency. Anyways, they've been really weak on the O-line, and beefing that up with somebody as versatile as Ford, who can play inside and out and is just an overall powerhouse. It's a really, really good fit here for Cincinnati. And at pick 12, we have the Green Bay Packers. Normally, they would probably trade down and grab somebody you have never heard of in your life. But, this is my mock draft. This is what I would do if I was in charge of all of these teams. And I would beef up that offensive line. They take Jonah Williams here at pick 12. Jonah Williams is regarded as one of the top offensive line prospects in this draft. He's agile and versatile. In a different sense than Ford. Cody Ford, is a little bit more stocky and strong, while Jonah Williams is a little more agile. But, both are great linemen. And Williams, you can slide him in at guard, start him out of guard first few years, and maybe can take over that right tackle spot eventually over in Green Bay. And here we go at pick 13, which originally belonged to the Miami Dolphins, now belongs to the Arizona Cardinals after trading down. Yes, they moved down 12 spots. They sure did get compensated for that in picks a lot next year. Arizona takes Ed Oliver here. Ed Oliver is, I think, the next Aaron Donald. He really is Aaron Donald 2.0. He's a little undersized, but he makes up for that with quickness, with with that swim move. He's super versatile. I keep using that word a lot, but it applies to so many of the players in this draft. That's why I'm doing 2 rounds, because you have some people go in the second round that easily could be top 10 in other draft classes. But Ed Oliver is just, one of my highly graded prospects, and I think he falls for the same reason Quinn Williams fell, just because, he's that interior lineman. But I mean, hell, it could be like Teddy Bruschi's case where, he starts off on D-line and you move him up to linebacker, middle linebacker, and he's a stud. I mean, he definitely has the speed for it. I think he ran like a 4.7, 4.8, something insane around there for somebody of his size. So, I mean, Ed Oliver he's going to be a franchise-changing player on defense, and Arizona still gets a stud, in the first round after trading down from that one spot. And here at 14, the Atlanta Falcons select to trade down. Yeah, the Oakland Raiders trade up and give up a third, as well as a seventh this year, to trade up and select Greedy Williams. So here we go. Rebuilding that defense, they added their secondary, probably the best cornerback in the draft. A lot of traits that Jalen Ramsey had coming into the draft. So they get two studs in the top 15, Oakland, in Josh Allen and Greedy Williams. Here we have pick 15, where the Washington Redskins select wide receiver N'Keal Harry. Redskins haven't really had a playmaker on offense in a long time. I can't even really remember a big name receiver they've had. So adding N'Keal Harry, 6'3", big build, put up pretty good numbers at the combine, 27 reps on the bench, tied DK Metcalf for best receiver bench. He's a playmaker. He's really going to help that offense. They do need a quarterback, but that will be addressed in later rounds. At pick 16, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting Rashawn Gary. Now, some may consider this, a prospect falling, especially if you compare it to my mock draft 1, where I had him going 4. But, a little closer look at Gary, and, yes, he is an athletic freak. 6'5", he's fast, he's powerful. But you watch his film, and the production value just isn't really there. He's kind of a project defensive end. But Carolina is willing to take a project defensive end here at 16. Somebody with that playmaking ability that can step in and replace Julius Peppers, who retired this past year. Next up, we have pick 17. The New York Giants received this pick from the Cleveland Browns in their trade for Odell Beckham Jr., which, contrary to belief, I think was pretty fair. You got Jabril Peppers, I believe a third round and a first round pick. So, I mean, I think they got compensated fairly well. That's aside the point. I mean, you can take this in the comments. I will gladly respond with a more in-depth analysis on that. At 17, I have the Giants taking offensive tackle Dalton Risner. They have greatly improved their offensive line, since 2 years ago. I mean, from left to right, you have Nate Solder, Will Hernandez. I can't name their center off the top of my head, but they also got Kevin Zeitler. Now, that's pretty solid line, but they're missing that right tackle spot. They have Chad Wheeler right now in, and Risner is a guy that can step in. I think he's the best right tackle in the draft, and he's ready to go in day one and be a powerful run blocker, which is what they need with an offense that they want to run through Saquon Barkley. Next up at pick 18, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who take offensive guard Garrett Bradbury. Bradbury is a really solid guard in the draft. I mean, not much to say. Just watch his film, and this guy can produce. He sure as hell can block. So, Vikings obviously a glaring need was offensive line, and they addressed this here. Here we have pick 19, where the Tennessee Titans select to trade down with the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the Eagles are going to give up a third round pick next year, as well as a depth cornerback. And Philly's going to select linebacker Devin Bush out of Michigan. Now, they trade up because you have Pitt, who's picking at 20, and they also need a middle linebacker. So Philly hops up in front, grabs a middle linebacker who is going to be Jordan Hicks' replacement, because after the Hicks departure, they really don't have anybody manning that middle spot. They have Camus Grugier-Hill, who has that speed, but I'm not sure he has that coverage ability. So you get a playmaker here in Devin Bush, and you only give up a third round and a depth corner. So great pick for Philly here. Next up, at number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, they're scrambling right now. Devin Bush got taken before them. They thought, he was going to fall, so they decided to take best available, draft cornerback Byron Murphy. I love Murphy. He's an absolute ball hawk, great in coverage, just a really, really good overall prospect. And, from the Pitts games I have seen, they have really, really mediocre corners. I mean, no real superstars. So adding Byron Murphy to the secondary here really strengthens that defense, which is going to need to pick it up with the offense depleting. No more Bell, no more Brown. At 21, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who I feel as if they always have a pick, somewhere in the 20 range. They're never like the greatest team, but they're always up there. They're always competing. Anyway, they take Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the safety cornerback hybrid out of Florida. I mean, the guy really can play anything in that secondary. And like Byron Murphy, I mean, the guy is an absolute ball hawk. And he's really good with taking those picks back too. There was one game I saw earlier in the year where he had a killer pick six. I knew that automatically solidified him as a first rounder. So Seattle adds to this secondary rebuild they have going on the past couple of years, and they take Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. And here at 22, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Now, in hindsight, maybe they should have went edge. They lost to Darius Smith and Terrell Suggs in free agency, but they do have a couple guys. Tyus Bowser's one that comes to mind, who I think can step up and play well in their defense. Their defense, I don't think, is the problem. I think they really got to get Lamar Jackson some more weapons, which is why I have them taking A.J. Brown, the other wide receiver from Ole Miss here at 22. I mean, he had great stats. He had 1,300 yards, 6 touchdowns off of, I think 75 receptions last year. Guy's really, all around great receiver. I mean, decent speed, all right size. Reminds me a lot of like a Nelson Aguilar, Calvin Ridley, combination. Maybe more upside than Aguilar though. But Brown is capable of being a number one receiver, which is exactly what the Ravens need here at 22 for Lamar Jackson. At 23, we have the Houston Texans, who I have them selecting Andre Dillard, offensive tackle from Washington State. Now, if you see any mock draft that doesn't have the Houston Texans going offensive line in the first round, I discredit them, because I almost guarantee that they select O-line in the first round. Deshaun Watson got sacked 60 plus times last year. That is outrageous. I mean, that's ridiculous. Your quarterback, you need to give him some sort of protection. And if you want Deshaun Watson to keep developing and growing as a quarterback, you're gonna need him to make some of those plays, keep that confidence up. But he can't do that if he's getting hit from the blind side constantly. So you got Dillard here, who can step up and be an immediate upgrade and starter for that Texans offensive line. We have the Atlanta Falcons here at 24. They trade down with Oakland, if you remember. They moved down 10 spots. They picked up some assets. They take Christian Wilkins, the defensive tackle out of Clemson here, who's probably the pick I would have had them go at 14. So, like I said, they pick up some assets. Great move here by Atlanta, and they fill a need in the interior D-line. I mean, Wilkins is just one of the best D-linemen in the draft, but the draft has such good depth in defensive linemen that he's going to get passed on quite a while, which is why I have him falling to 24. And at 25, we have the Tennessee Titans, who have Philadelphia's pick here. They go Eric McCoy, the offensive guard / center out of Texas A&M. Guy, absolute mauler in the middle, can play guard or center, as I said before. I know they have Ben Jones playing center right now, but down the road, if you want to move him in the center, he can make that transition. So, probably the guy they would have gotten at 19, but instead they trade down 6 spots and pick up a depth corner as well as a 3rd round pick. At 26, we have the Indianapolis Colts, who were probably the biggest question of this offseason, because what happened? They had $100+ million in cap, and the biggest name they signed was Justin Houston. That was late in free agency. They had so much money they could have thrown out there. I give them a C grade for their offseason, because man, they didn't spend on anybody. So right here we have them going DeAndre Baker, the cornerback out of Georgia, very talented. Some may say he's the best cornerback in the draft. I think he's definitely up there. Definitely a shutdown corner. But they add to their secondary depth here at 26. Here at pick 27, we have the Oakland Raiders trading down, yes, another trade with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now Oakland's like, hey, we already got Josh Allen and Greedy Williams. That's pretty nice haul for the first round, right? So let's get some more draft capital, some more assets. Since he trades up, they draft quarterback Drew Lock. Now Drew Lock is one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft class. I think he's going to be the most pro ready right away. A lot of these quarterbacks are developmental quarterbacks. So since he gets a guy here in Lock and kind of light a fire up under Andy Dalton, if he doesn't pick it up this year, then they have a future replacement in Drew Lock. Now at 28, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers get a guy that kind of falls. Dexter Lawrence. Defensive tackles, like I keep saying, they're not valued as highly as edge rushers, so they're going to fall, especially with as much depth as there is in this class. And Lawrence, any other draft, he's definitely a top 20 pick, but he falls at 28 here. The Chargers, who gets a nice guy to stop the run, can play alongside Joey Bosa and Melvin Ingram. Here at pick 29, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs select to trade down. Yes, they trade down. New England Patriots jump up 3 spots to go ahead of the Green Bay Packers and select tight end TJ Hawkinson. Hawkinson is a great all-around tight end. He's a great blocker, also a great catcher. And, he comes and he fills in here for an immediate need with Rob Gronkowski retiring this past offseason. Now, at 30, we have the Green Bay Packers. They just got jumped by the Patriots to grab Hawkinson. Some of you may say that Hawkinson fell. However, there's so much defensive talent in this draft. I don't think a tight end really shouldn't go early. You got guys like, Zach Ertz was taken in the second round. You got Travis Kelce, I'm pretty sure was 3rd round pick. So you can get some pretty talented tight ends, late first, second, even into the 3rd round. Antonio Gates is undrafted. So tight ends, really a dime a dozen. So I think Hawkinson falls, as well as this guy. The Green Bay Packers like Noah Fant. Now Fant reminds me a lot of Evan Ingram. Fast, good hands. More known as a catching tight end rather than blocking. But you get Rodgers another target here. Not many other receivers were on the board at this point for Green Bay. I know they do need a pass catcher, but I think they target that in later rounds and lean on Equanimeous St. Brown and Marquez Valdes-Scantling for now. Just because no other receivers that are on the board right now really fit the Packers scheme, and I don't think they were going to reach for a guy like Riley Ridley in the first round. So Noah Fant is the pick for the Packers here at 30. At pick 31, we have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Rams are kind of tricky because they've had a lot of departures this offseason, such as Ndamukong Suh, such as LaMarcus Joyner, just to name a few. Also some interior linemen as well. But I think they draft best available, and best available here would be Clelin Ferrell, the edge rusher out of Clemson. He can step in, add to that rotation, and play alongside Aaron Donald to make a pretty scary run defense. Finally, the last pick in the first round. Don't worry, there's a whole nother round coming up. The Kansas City Chiefs, with the pick they acquired from trading down with the New England Patriots, they select Josh Jacobs, running back from Alabama, arguably the best running back in the class. In my opinion, he is. Reminds me a lot of Alvin Kamara, a lot of the same flashes. He's definitely going to be a success in this league. And if you put him on the offense with Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, he's just going to flourish. So the Chiefs kind of have had a need for running back ever since losing Kareem Hunt. Damian Williams is all right, but they also signed Carlos Hyde. But I think by week 4 or 5, Jacobs kind of declares himself as the workhorse. So Josh Jacobs at 32 for the Chiefs. Listen, I know it's a long video, so here's a little interlude. If you want to pause this video, maybe pick it up at a later date. But this second round is going to be really juicy. There's still a couple more really good, talented players that are left on the board that kind of fell. More trades to go. But, just take a break here, kick back, relax, maybe grab a drink if you're going to, finish out the rest of this video, because, like I said, it is a long one. And, just want to plug, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. And if you want to be one of the first people to, see these videos when they come out, with football, news can get, kind of outdated pretty fast, so you're going to want to see this stuff when it first comes out. Click that notifications bell. It also would really help me out as a creator. All right, let's get going to that second round. This is the second round. I'm going to try to make these a little faster. At 33 of the Arizona Cardinals, and they select Marquise Brown. You get Josh Rosen, a wideout. Pretty much speaks for itself. Larry Fitzgerald is aging, and Christian Kirk look pretty good. Behind them, you don't really have anyone else, so Marquise Brown can step in and be that deep threat right away. We have another wideout going off the board here at 34. The Indianapolis Colts select Hakeem Butler, the wide receiver at Iowa State. Now, Hakeem Butler has great size. Speed isn't really there, but he has really good hands as well, and he could serve to be a perfect complement to T.Y. Hilton, and just gives another receiver to Andrew Luck's arsenal there in Indianapolis. 35 with the Oakland Raiders, and Gruden is active again as he trades down. Yes, the Green Bay Packers are going to trade up and select Delaware safety Nasir Adderley. Put him in the back of that secondary that they're still starting to rebuild. He may very well be that last piece to pair next to Adrian Amos and just kind of complete that secondary. So great add on defense right here for Green Bay. Here at 36, we have the San Francisco 49ers, and they select, really hope I pronounce this right, Amani Arawari, the cornerback safety hybrid from Penn State. Very versatile, like I said, cornerback safety hybrid. Great addition to the secondary there. But, he's super talented. I think he may very well go in the first, but I haven't fallen him here to 36. We have the Giants here at 37, and, they're going to go quarterback? No. Why would they do that? They have Eli. Jonathan Abram, the safety out of Mississippi State, is at the pick here for the G-Men. They lost Landon Collins in free agency. They picked up Jabril Peppers, but, Antoine Bethea is their other starting safety. If they can get a guy like Abram here who can come in and start, a very hard-hitting safety, you might also be able to slide him in over a linebacker, too. So, another versatile safety here going in the second round. Jacksonville here, pick at 38. They just get another weapon for Foles here. They go DK Metcalf in the first. Here they go tight end Irv Smith. If it weren't for the two Iowa tight ends, this guy would be in first-round talks too. So he falls to the second, and Nick Foles gets another target to make a strong playoff run in Jacksonville. Here at 39, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who they really need some help protecting Jameis Winston. So they go Chris Lindstrom, the offensive guard from Boston. He's shown up well, tests well, looks great on film, and can be a nice addition to pass protection for Winston. Here at 40, we have the Buffalo Bills, who draft Kelvin Harmon, wide receiver from North Carolina State. Now, I know they have not had the best rapport in the past with, big body receivers named Kelvin, but Harmon, they take a risk here. They get Allen, another target, big body receiver, another first-round talent falling to the second. Not everybody can be first-round talents, so Harmon's the pick here at 40. The Denver Broncos here at 41, but they selected to trade down, get some draft capital back from what they lost, trading up for Haskins, with the New England Patriots trading up again to select defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons from Mississippi State. Now, Simmons would easily have been a top 20 pick. I say that about everybody, I know. But, that injury earlier in the year, I believe he tore his ACL, really is going to take a hit to his draft stock. So, Patriots get a steal right here at 41, and they really fill a need here on their D-line. I have a question. Do you remember... that trade between Oakland and Cincinnati? Yeah, 42. That's where Oakland traded down to. They get the Cincinnati second-round pick. And don't worry, they got a lot more, as you saw on the screen prior. Oakland goes Julian Love, the cornerback from Notre Dame. Love, great slot cornerback. And I know they went Greedy Williams already, but I think pairing him with Greedy Williams as well as Garyon Conley and Carl Joseph is going to build for a very, very young and talented secondary. And I think Gruden's really going to try to emphasize the defense this year. So Love is the pick here at 42. Here we have pick 43. And the Detroit Lions select tight end Jay Sternberger. Yeah, tight end at Texas A&M. Very talented. I think he's slept on. I think he's going to be a starter. Well, obviously a starter. I think he's going to be a stud in this league. And, kind of gives Stafford the tight end he's been lacking ever since they lost Ebron. Well, not just Ebron in general. I mean, like, when Ebron was good in Detroit. So, like, Ebron's second year. All right, just an update. I just looked at Ebron's stats. He never really was good in Detroit. I mean, the second year was probably his best year. So, I mean, I was kind of right on that. But, Detroit really hasn't, like, had a great tight end in a very, very long time. So, correction on that. Pick 44, we have the Oakland Raiders. This is the other second-round pick that they received via trade. This comes from the Green Bay Packers, and they select Greg Little, the offensive tackle out of Mississippi. Now, Greg Little, a lot of questions. Is he going to be good? He's kind of a project offensive tackle, but, with the departure of Donald Penn this past offseason, there really is a whole lot of offensive line for Oakland. And I really think that they should look towards this draft to fixing that sooner rather than later, because you don't want Derek Carr to, kind of turn into his brother. So Greg Little is the pick here at 44. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons at pick 45, and they are going to select cornerback Justin Lane out of Michigan State. Now, Lane, he's great in man coverage, has the potential to be an elite shutdown corner. But, he's going to start off as a nice pair here with Desmond Trufant to kind of solidify that Atlanta secondary. We have the Washington Redskins here at 46. And yeah, they go quarterback. They take Daniel Jones, the Duke quarterback. I know, Duke. When have they produced football players? That seems like a first. But Daniel Jones, I mean, kind of a project guy. You sit him behind Case Keenum. Alex Smith is a huge question mark at this point. So you get a little insurance policy here. Second round isn't that too much of a hit, especially if Daniel Jones can prove to be a legitimate franchise quarterback. Here at pick 47, we have the Carolina Panthers, and they're going to go West Virginia offensive tackle Yannick Adjust. Now, ever since losing Andrew Norwell, the Panthers' offensive line has been pretty far from impressive. It's just, their left tackle spot has always been kind of shoddy. So Yannick Adjust can come in here and kind of compete for that left tackle job, and eventually, be a huge improvement for that Panthers O-line. Here at pick 48, this pick originally belonged to the Miami Dolphins. However, when they traded up for Kyler Murray, they gave this to the Arizona Cardinals. So at 48, the Cardinals select Michael Dieter, the offensive tackle from Wisconsin. Personally, one of my favorite tackle prospects in this draft. However, I think he falls to the second round, which he does here. Arizona had one of the worst offensive lines last year. Everybody knows that. It's not a secret. So they get some immediate help here with Dieter to protect Josh Rosen and give David Johnson a couple more holes to run behind, because he sure did not have those last year. Trust me, I had him in fantasy. He was horrendous. And here at 49, we have a team we had not heard yet, the Cleveland Browns. This is because they got a great trade when they traded for Odell, but in result of this, they gave up their 17th pick in the draft to the New York Giants. The Browns here, they're going to go Deontay Thompson, the safety from Bama. Now, obviously they lost Jabril Peppers in that trade also to the Giants, so they're kind of recouping here. There are reports that the Browns do want to trade back up to the first. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think that's a smokescreen. But Deontay Thompson, they get best available here. They get some secondary help, which they definitely needed if you watch any of their film from last year. And, Thompson can just be a huge improvement in that secondary and, just be another addition to, help them make that playoff run that they're going for this season. Here, at the 50th pick of the draft, yes, we're already at 50 picks. It's been a long video. We have the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings, they are going to take defensive tackle Jerry Tillery. Yes, they're going to take another lineman. Tillery has been great for Notre Dame, but another one of those cases in this draft where because of the depth of the draft, he is going to fall. He's going to fall to the second round here to Minnesota. And Minnesota's D-line is just getting pretty old. I don't know how long they're going to stay together. So Tillery is going to be a nice addition to the rotation and eventually carve himself out a starting role. Here at 51, we have the Tennessee Titans, who are going to take the best player in the draft left right now. That's Ja'Kai Polite, the edge rusher from Florida. Earlier in the offseason, people had him going like the first round, but he fell due to some concerns of him not being able to, finish getting off that block. I think with the right coaching staff, he'll be fine. He reminds me a lot of Ezekiel Ansah. So he's a player to watch here in the second round. And Tennessee is lucky enough to add him to their defensive line rotation. And here we go. At 52, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They take Paris Campbell, wide receiver from Ohio State. Speedster, I think he ran like somewhere in the 4.3s at the combine. Really fast. And I think he can just stretch the field here. You have Juju Smith-Schuster already at that one. James Washington, your slot. And Paris Campbell, like I said, he can stretch the field. That's what Pitt needs right now. Ben's old, but he's still got that arm. And to have somebody like Campbell to, like I said, stretch the field, it's going to be very, very beneficial to that Pittsburgh offense. We have the Philadelphia Eagles here at pick 53, and they're going to take Washington safety Taylor Rapp. Taylor Rapp, probably one of the better tackling safeties in this draft. Probably one of the best tacklers all around, actually. His zone is a little sus, but, with all these safeties going the second round, Philly decides to snag him up. And, with an aging safety group over in Philadelphia with Andrew Sendejo, Rodney McLeod, and Malcolm Jenkins, Taylor Rapp can add some youth and depth at the safety position. At pick 54, we have Houston. Now, they could go offensive line again. However, they're just going to add another weapon to Deshaun Watson's arsenal. They go Deebo Samuel, wide receiver from South Carolina. Deebo Samuel, he's gotten a lot more hype ever since the combine. A great overall receiver. I think he steps in and is the starting slot receiver here in Houston. You'll have Hopkins year one. Fuller's going to spread the field, and then got Deebo Samuel in the slot, and kind of set Deshaun Watson up here for success in his third season. Here at pick 55, we have the Houston Texans again. However, they're going to trade down. They decide, we don't need back-to-back picks. We're going to trade down. KC jumps up and snags Mack Wilson, the linebacker from Alabama, who is still on the board, surprisingly. There's that much defensive talent in this draft. Obviously the Chiefs lost a good amount of their linebackers this past offseason in Justin Houston and Dee Ford, both starters. So Mack Wilson is going to come in right away and probably, at least challenge for a starting spot. And, they're going to hope that he can produce like Darius Leonard did for the Indianapolis Colts last year. We have the New England Patriots here at 56. Now, the Patriots, as you remember, they traded up with the Denver Broncos earlier in this draft to select Jeffrey Simmons. So, they already have taken tight end and defensive tackle, both large needs. What else do they need? That would be wide receiver. They've lost a good amount of receivers in this past offseason. All they really have on their roster is, Julian Edelman. So they're going to take Riley Ridley, the wide receiver from Georgia here. I don't want to rant about this guy, but he is one of my top 5 receivers in this draft. He's a great route runner. At 6'2", he has great size, he has decent speed, and he has really good hands. So he's going to be, once again, another immediate starter in this draft. At 57, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to select to trade down. Yes, this is the 10th and last trade in my mock draft 2.0. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to trade down with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to pick up a third-round pick this year and a little more compensation. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to select David Edwards, the right tackle from Wisconsin, who's going to be able to step in and, give Nick Foles some protection. I don't know if you noticed the theme here, but Jacksonville is going to go offense, because their defense is that good, and they want to give Nick Foles a situation where he can succeed right away. At 58, we have the Dallas Cowboys, which is a team you have not heard yet in this draft. Yes, that is because they traded their first-round pick to Oakland for Amari Cooper, midway through last season. So Dallas in the second round here, they're going to take Darnell Savage, the safety from Maryland. Savage is getting more and more hype, as the days go by, and I think he jumps up into the second round. Very talented safety here, and can definitely compete for a starting job in Dallas's secondary. Here at 59 with the Indianapolis Colts, we're going to go Draymond Jones, the defensive tackle from the Ohio State. Yeah, the Ohio State. The only concern is obviously, he played next to Nick Bosa for, a majority of his collegiate career. So, Bosa's getting double covered. Draymond Jones isn't challenged as much, but he's still a great prospect, and definitely going to fill a need for the Colts here in their interior of their D-line. At pick 60, we have the Los Angeles Chargers, who I have going Emmanuel Hall, the wide receiver from Missouri. Just an overall good prospect. He's not amazing in any field per se, but he's not necessarily bad. I think he's a pretty safe pick here, but he will fall because he's not super flashy. But I mean, that's the type of receiver the Chargers like, is somebody that's just consistent. So the Chargers get another weapon here to add to Phillip Rivers' arsenal. And here we go at pick 61. This originally, belonged to the Chiefs. However, when they traded up for Mack Wilson, this became the property of the Houston Texans. So the Houston Texans are going to take Chase Winovich, the edge rusher out of Michigan, here at 61. He reminds me of an undersized Connor Barwin. Fast, can play end or linebacker. That's why he's classified as an edge. And just adds depth to Houston's rotation here in the second round. Here at pick 62, we have the New Orleans Saints, who, much like the Dallas Cowboys, are selecting their first pick in the second round. This is because last year, obviously, the Saints traded up to draft Marcus Davenport and gave up their first this year to the Green Bay Packers, who at 30, they ended up selecting Noah Fant. So, New Orleans, pick 62, they're going to take Elgton Jenkins, the center from Mississippi State. This may be a little bit of a reach, but, center is their only real definitive need, in my opinion, especially with Max Unger retiring. They signed Pat Eifline. I'm not sure if I said his last name right. I'm sure I'm going to get hate in the comments for that. But, Elgton Jenkins is sure to add some competition to that interior lineman locker room there in New Orleans. At 63, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to select Jalen Ferguson, the edge rusher from LA Tech. Edge is obviously a glaring need for the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot more so than secondary, just because they lost, Justin Houston, who was a huge part of the KC defense, along with D Ford. Mack Wilson is going to be able to drop back, be more of a linebacker than an edge rusher, work back there with Anthony Hitchens and Reggie Ragland. But, they don't really have much guys up front aside from Chris Jones. So, Jalen Ferguson is going to come in, be able to right away be an immediate part of the rotation, and hopefully he can carve out a role eventually in this KC D-line. And finally, we have pick 64, which originally belonged to the New England Patriots. However, when they traded up to grab Jeffrey Simmons, Denver Broncos traded down, kind of got some compensation back for trading up for Dwayne Haskins, who, speaking of which, is going to get a weapon here in Andy Isabella, the wide receiver from UMass. He was supposed to go late originally. However, he showed up at the combine really, really fast. I'm pretty sure in, the collegiate level, he set some, pretty big records for receiving yards. The guy has a lot of upside. Elway can't pass that up right here. And, gets a guy to grow and learn with Dwayne Haskins. Hey guys, I just want to thank you so much for making it this far and just watching the mock draft 2.0. 2 rounds, 10 trades. It's a lot. Haven't put this all together yet, but I'm anticipating it's going to be probably over an hour. So if you made it this far, again, I just want to say thank you. And if you would, leave a like, it'd be much, much appreciated. And leave a comment. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to get back to you, kind of converse, pick at your brains, see what you think about these picks, about these scenarios, about these trades. And, subscribe if you haven't, because I'm going to post a lot more content like this, in the future, especially this summer. This summer, I'm going to do a lot more fantasy football analysis and whatnot, player rankings and ratings and all that jazz. So, stay tuned and click that notifications bell if you want to be notified when the videos first drop. Because, in the football world, news can come and go, snap of a finger. Like, I could post this mock draft, and the first round pick can be traded to a team other than the Dolphins, or Rosen may be traded any day now, any minute. I could be uploading this video and Josh Rosen could be getting traded. I personally think that the Cardinals would be stupid to do so, but that's an opinion. Leave down in the comments what you think the Cardinals should do with Rosen. I don't think Murray's the move, to be honest with you. But, we can discuss that in the comments. So, make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to leave a like, please. Really, please leave a like. And, hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You're doing yourself a favor. So thank you for watching. Peace.